good people? Welcome back for another video, another movie review. Today we are going to be reviewing Netflix's new action-packed movie called Heart of Stone starring Gal Gadot. So, if you're unfamiliar with my reviews, I will go ahead and begin giving you guys take on the critical point of view, judging on everything that critics normally take a look at. And then at the end, I'll go ahead and give you a fan's perspective, my personal review as a fan of whether it's the actors, of the movie genre, of the movie series, whatever it may be. If you're a fan of that, would you enjoy it or not? That's at the end. So, and then obviously the overall score. But before I go ahead and get started with the video, with the movie review, just wanted to remind you guys that the world is full of a lot of negativity. I hope you're doing your part in spreading the positivity. Stop the hate, spread the love, and now on to the review. Alright guys, so what is this movie about, right? Before I get into the whole critical point, let's go ahead and just get it down, what this movie really is about. So Gal Gadot plays a double agent. She works for this thing called a charter. By the way, this will have spoilers, minor spoilers, nothing too big. But points of the stories will be spoiled in this review. So she plays this double agent who's working for a secret organization called a charter, but she is undercover working for MI6, which is, the British intelligence. And obviously, they don't know that she's from the charter. That's what it means to be a double agent, right? So to MI6, she is just a hacker who doesn't really know anything outside of computer skills. But as a charter agent, she actually is a badass, right? She knows how to fight, she knows how to drive, she knows how to do it all. Everything you would expect from a true secret agent. And that's exactly what she portrays in here. So on the MI6 level, she's playing as this innocent person who doesn't know anything outside of programming and all that stuff. And then eventually, I'm going to go ahead and skim over this just so that way I'm not describing the entire movie, but just the main points. So all these events happen and she is now in a predicament where she is stuck, right? Where her MI6 team, who she has grown to become friends with, even though she wasn't supposed to become friends with anyone, as charter agents are supposed to stay emotionless, without family, without friends, and all that good stuff. And, she's now in a predicament where she has to choose either to stay within the charter guidelines, to go ahead and protect her identity from the MS6 friends, from finding out who she truly is, or to saving the lives of this team, so-called friends that she has now. Obviously, she makes the choice that the charter sees wrong, and she ends up saving them, which exposes her as well as a charter to her group of friends. She's betrayed by someone that she really cared about, and then she gets the consequences of that from the charter, where she's basically laid off and or given on like a leave or something like that. And then eventually, basically what ends up happening is the person that betrayed her now has this motive of, hey, I could use your technology. Because the charter has interactive AI, I guess you can go ahead and say, where they're able to find whatever they're looking for, whomever they're looking for. They're able to do anything that you can really think. And maybe where AI in real life is probably headed at some point. But anyways, now that the real villain is revealed and he's after this technology, she goes rogue because she feels responsible for what is happening, and the charter gets involved. The charter is being attacked, and now she has to basically not just save the charter, but she also has to save the world because this guy is just planning to use it. So it's a very, very generic story, nothing new here. And now we're going to go ahead and get started with a critical review. Very generic story, everything you would expect from a spy movie, anything from a special agent movie. But, story being very generic, I do have to give a round of applause for the action sequences in this movie. If there's one thing Netflix has down, I think it's action. Whether it's Chris Hemsworth Extraction or this movie and many more to come, I think they've got the choreography for action down. And now they just have to get better at the stories, which I think, they probably will. Netflix is making a lot of money and they're probably getting a lot more attention out. So in terms of the cast, I think everyone fulfilled their roles pretty good. Although what I'm happy about, where it's kind of hard to judge the other cast members in this movie, is because 80% of the movie is like Gal Gadot, right? Which which works great if you're a fan or whatever. But if you were trying to enjoy it for the entire cast, if you liked someone else from this cast, I don't know how you would feel about this. So the acting was spot on. Gal Gadot, like I said, carried through this movie. As she does in many different movies. And I know that going into this movie, she had been giving interviews how she wanted to do something separate than Wonder Woman. And this was definitely something different than Wonder Woman, but the action sequences, you're like, man, like, you know, all she needed is her shield and her suit, and it would still look the same because there are some action scenes in here where you're just like, yeah, I don't know if a human would truly survive that, right? Or be able to do that. So it still had a superhero presence, but I think that's to be expected whether you're watching this, Extraction, John Wick. It's just this otherworldly action that takes place where you're like, no real human would be able to endure all that. But anyways, the pace was great. I think 2 hours flew by because they kept the story moving. I don't think it really had too many slow movements. I think it just had a lot of predictable moments. Like I mentioned, the betrayal and all this other stuff that you would want to be surprised by. You're not, because it's very predictable. It's something we've seen 1,000 times. I think those are probably the only negatives I have. The action was great. Gal Gadot was great. So if I was to go ahead and, give this a critical point of view, I think as a review, I think as a critic, I would go ahead and give this a 7 out of 10. I was really thinking of a 6.5, but I think 7 is good. 7 out of 10 as a critic. Now, let's go ahead and step into the fans' perspective. If you're a fan of Gal Gadot, which I am, if you're a fan of action movies, which I am, if you are a fan of how this type of choreography works, superhero type of action, which I am, you would be delighted watching this movie, as I was. I really liked this movie. So, as a fan, I would go ahead and give this an 8 out of 10. So, if you were to combine it, 7.5 actually seems very enjoyable, even if as a fan, you were able to go ahead and look away from all the predictable stuff. If you are okay with a generic story because you just enjoy Gal Gadot that much, then yes, this is an 8 out of 10. So I'm going to go ahead and give it an overall score of 7.5, which is, again, not bad. It's on the good side of things. And I would definitely recommend this movie to all of you guys if you want to give it a watch. Have you seen the movie? What are your thoughts about it? Did you guys like it as much as I did? Or did you guys like it more or less? Whatever your thoughts are, leave it in the comments section down below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that post notification bell. And guys, please don't forget to hit that like button. Until next time, I hope you guys have a great one.